let's get it going. Good evening and good morning, Unicorn fam. Again, Zygration enthusiasts, rise up. We know what it feels like to have withdrawal symptoms from not being able to tend to your farm and missing your adorable unicorns. I can almost hear the crowd go, when? Listen close, and we'll answer that and more, Unicorn fam. Here to deliver the good word is Crypto Unicorn CEO and co-founder Aron Beierschmitt, as well as our growth director, Sayuri. Take it away, y'all. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the town hall. Aron, how are we today? Ready for another big one?
Yeah, probably the biggest one yet, sir. The biggest one yet. I'm pumped. I mean, obviously, alpha leaking everywhere. It's all over the floor. Let's get it out of my office and out into Discord.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we dive in, I just want to quickly say thank you to the whole community for your patience. Obviously, this has been a long migration, but a massive migration. I'm pretty sure this is the biggest gaming blockchain migration that has ever happened. Something like 150 different smart contracts, all these different faucets that have to connect to each other. It has been no small task, and just really proud of our engineering team for all the work that they've been putting in. The testing has been going really well, and the light is here at the end of the tunnel, folks. So your patience has been well worth it. And also just wanted to give a shout out to the mod team and everyone else that's been participating in general chat and welcoming all of the new community members in. Obviously, we've had this Zai marketing campaign start to kick off. So a lot of new Twitter followers, a lot of new folks in the Discord, and being there to meet and greet them and just answer their questions is really important. So thank you for that, and please continue doing that and thank you supporting our team, because it really is a team effort. But let's do it. Let's jump in here. So per usual, a little bit of a summary to get us started. We're going to talk about the custom marketplace, native marketplace as we've called it in the past. We've talked about this one a lot. It is finally here. No more broken sea. Now that we're on Zai, there is actually no open sea at all. So we have our own marketplace, and we can do anything that we want with it purely in our control. Obviously, the Zygration is just about to be complete. Once we go live, we'll have some new daily reward structures that are going to be really exciting. And of course, that's going to lead into our big play to airdrop campaign that will have a lot of juicy Zai rewards for all of you players. We're going to talk about player progression today. We have a new system that's on the way that will allow players to start kind of tracking their own profile. You'll be able to see achievements, and you'll be able to level up individual within individual areas of the game, and we'll be able to see who's a farmer, who's a breeder, who does everything, and we'll start to see a little bit more identity in our players. Pretty exciting. And last but really not least, we're going to tease our Forever PvP game. A lot of work has been happening behind the scenes to continue expanding tribes and making sure that warfare system is going to be fun and exciting. Our buddy Sysmal, who you've seen in Discord some, has been very heads down. And while a lot of the team's been focused on the migration, he's been making sure that we're not stacking time and really positioning tribes to be the final feature of the Elder game that really ties it all together. Gone are the days of match 3, and now it is officially the Puzzle Battler as we work on innovating something kind of new and exciting. So a lot for us to go over, and I'm going to hand the baton over to Aron pretty quickly here. But we've seen this slide before. This was in the last town hall we did. I just love this picture because it really highlights the extremity of what our team has been able to do. We ship a lot of stuff, and we ship early, and we iterate quickly. And I think this roadmap just illustrates how intense it's been since launch. And here we've got the continuation that's coming up next. Obviously, RBW to CU was a really big thing. This migration is huge, and a lot of exciting stuff on the way. And then we'll find out what comes next into 2025. So here we go. This is the big one. Key dates y'all have been waiting for. Aron, this is the exciting stuff. We're going to have the native marketplace June 24th. June 25th, we'll be live on Zai with those daily rewards. And then we're going to have the play to airdrop campaign beginning on July 1st.
The long await is finally over. I mean, I'm fucking pumped. I don't know what else to say on this. Obviously, the light is... We are at the end of the tunnel. The light is ahead. We need to step out into the light, my friends. And very much looking forward to it. I think a key note on July 1st is also that is when the Zai Chapter 3 Vanguard campaign is going to go live, kind of fully focused on all things corns. We're kind of the featured project on Zai for the entire month of July. 2 years ago, the timing was pretty terrible with our initial launch. Obviously, 6 weekly red candles to ETH at 800 and full fear, full FUD and market fear. I think we've actually forgotten what that feels like since then, but now I almost feel like the reverse is possible. We have the imminent activation and actual launch of the Ethereum ETFs. Yes, Jay Powell was hawkish in the last meeting, but we all think he's full of shit and about to cut rates because he has to, because we can't keep paying high interest rates on our debt and hyperinflating our currency into nothing. And so I think we're in a very, very good position to capture a liquidity wave really entering the space, and again, positioned very well between CU, between access to Zai VR grant, potential Arbitrum and Grail and things of that nature. And so anyway, I'm really, really pumped just generally on the timing of how all of this is coming together, relative to the macro market. We're not competing with a lot of other game releases right now. And so anyway, pumped, sir.
Absolutely. And we'll talk about it towards the end. But of course, those 2 proposals and the DAO passing, the buyback and burn related to the game bank and everything coming into the treasury, we just have so many more tools in our arsenal compared to the launch when you guys originally kicked this thing off when the market started to tumble. So a lot of things going our way, and I'm with you. I don't have the word to express my excitement. It has been a busy 3 weeks, and we're all tired, but we're all really excited and ready for this next phase. So let's talk native marketplace a little bit. Again, this is one we have teased in the past, but here you go. No more Broken Sea. As I said before, OpenSea doesn't even exist on Zai yet. When we had attempted to get Haku to become our main marketplace, it was really challenging because we had to compete with OpenSea on Polygon. Getting that liquidity off of OpenSea just seemed almost impossible. Now we're going to have the opposite problem. We have our own marketplace, so we're responsible for all of the liquidity. And as players and members of the community, I'm going to continue asking all of you, and we'll continue to remind you, we are going to need a big push for liquidity once the marketplace goes live. There's a lot of folks that are waiting with bated breath, excited to pick up some unicorns, expand their collection, to be ready for play to airdrop. So we're going to need you guys to make sure there's assets listed on the marketplace for people to buy, right? As we have new players come in, the reason we feel, pretty safe giving them some rewards and incentives to participate is because they're new customers, right? For people to be able to buy unicorns in land, they need to buy them from you guys. So we're all going to have to work to get together to get them on the marketplace. Ready to sort by total stats. We can control exactly how we display stuff. So we have all the metadata. And obviously the marketplace will be something that will get incremental improvements over time as you guys give us more feedback and request more features. Now we can actually just build those instead of going to OpenSea and begging them to, make one little change, or going to Haku and asking them to build something totally separate. We can just do that now. And last but certainly not least, with the buyback and burn, this is huge, right? OpenSea was taking a marketplace fee for every sale. That's money that was just going out of the ecosystem, right? Money going to OpenSea doesn't help us at all. Now that money comes to us being the community, right? Going into the treasury. And now that we're committed to burning 50% of everything that comes into the treasury through the form of CU, we've got a lot stacked up here. So this is really cool, Aaron. To me, this feels like we're starting to control our own destiny so much more compared to when we were working with Broken Sea or attempting to work with Broken Sea.
Absolutely. I think this is the future for most game developers, right? You want a custom marketplace in your own brand, that's on brand, on theme, displays the data that, your players want to see to make the right purchase decisions, and gets around silly things that we were plagued with for years, like the ability for people to list locked unicorns, right? These things that have plagued us for a very long time go away. And by the way, this is a misstate. It's June 24th, like it was on the prior slide for anyone confused. Cool. Custom marketplace, major release, obviously a brand new product in the ecosystem. Very, very excited to get it out to the community next week. And from there, get feedback and continue to iterate on it. But I think by default, we have something that looks a hell of a lot better than Haku, surfaces all the data that Haku did, gives us better filtering based on what our community cares about and wants to see relative to every asset. It solves the problems around locked unicorns being listed. And again, it's passing all of the revenue from the secondary fee back into the treasury, 50% of which is going back to buying and burning CU. So every single marketplace purchase from Monday onward adds value to CU.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Really amazing. And again, June 24th, I apologize, date didn't get updated there, but very excited for Monday. All right, post-migration, Aaron, I'll let you run through some of this, but patch 4.0, this is the migration build, games officially deploying to Xi. There's a couple of gaming experiences on there already, but the big kahuna is ready to arrive. Big kahuna being crypto unicorns.
Yeah, this has been an amazing push on behalf of the team to just rewire everything back onto Xi. What the team is kind of in progress of pulling off is effectively open heart surgery on chain. It's kind of an amazing thing. And so massive shout out to all the work and effort that has been effectively a 6-month push from the team to kind of get us here. We've been on testnet for several weeks testing. I can tell you it's amazing. Every action we used to complain about, just there's no reason to complain about anymore. From breeding an Evo to even locking in corns, just the speed of Xi is incredibly noticeable relative to what we were dealing with on Polygon, not having to wait 30 confirmations and things like this. So generally, I think you're going to be blown away by the speed of the new network that we happen to be on. In addition to that, things like free transactions are coming. I put a little star there because there's somewhat of a caveat just in general. We've applied the rebate facet, which we did in Twilight Tactics, so that you're effectively getting refunded on all of your transactions, right? Or refunded a majority of the cost on your transactions. You need very little Xi in a wallet to be able to kind of play indefinitely. We have actually today airdropped Xi into most of all of the OG wallets, I should say. So if you were active and engaged, you have a little bit of Xi to get you started on Xi. So that's going to be fantastic. Going forward, and we'll talk about this with embedded wallets and some other things, there's other avenues to making things as gasless, quote unquote, as possible. But obviously, with the enormous amount of Xi rewards you're going to start getting daily, there will never be a need to ever pay for gas again. And that's, of course, I think, very exciting.
Sorry to interrupt. One little note on that as well. The money, the Xi that is going into those gas rebates, that is not coming out of our pocket or the treasury. So no need to worry about that. That is coming from a separate pot that is connected to Xi through this partnership that we have. So it really does sort of feel like free transactions to our community. We're not footing the bill for that. That has to do with our Xi partnership. So no stress there. Just a great experience for all players.
Yep, for sure. And then the last two quickly, a number of performance improvements, thanks to everyone who submitted reports kind of earlier in the year. We've done a pretty big deep dive, and you'll see both performance improvements in this release as well as upcoming releases where we have identified server calls that were taking too long because they were unnecessarily checking for delegation on every single thing you were doing and things of that nature. In addition, something I'm really proud of is this contextual tutorial. Tutorials are obviously key in all games. We didn't ship with one back in the day because you were making $500 plus, clicking a few buttons and getting your gather, right? And so we kind of noped out of a lot of the traditional things that games have. And now with the 4.0 release, we are bringing back a full-on first-time user experience through this contextual tutorial. We call it contextual because one of the enormous challenges we have is players do not start at the same state, which if you think about almost every game tutorial you've ever done, everybody starts in the same exact place. You run through the exact same tutorial. we have this thing where you could have bought level 10 mythic land that has all the damn buildings and they're all leveled up. And how does the contextual tutorial recognize that and still teach you the system without needing to, for example, build buildings? And so our contextual tutorial is actually reactive based on the starting state of a player, how much land, how many unicorns you have. It's taken a very long time to kind of test all of the edge cases around that. And anyway, we're excited to get this in with 4.0 right as we expect an influx of new players. And now you have a little guide that will take you through the core loop of the game and effectively train you on what you need or what you need to be doing on a daily basis. Then you connect that into the play to earn and the daily claims. And again, I think we have a system in place that gets people through the loops such that they learn them and then can proceed from there. So lots of exciting stuff in this build, major push on behalf of the team. And coming imminently.
Absolutely. And on top of the contextual tutorial, I've also been doing some reviews with some of our designers just to try to add more of those like information mouse overs, that little eye, and you can just mouse over it and you're like, oh, that's what this thing is. Oh, that's how this thing works. Oh, that's where it's used, right? Just trying to get some of that information that exists outside of the game client in like the Git book and the white paper, and just make it a little bit more accessible in the game itself. We don't have to tell you the strategy, but we can tell you, hey, this is what unicorn poop is. This is the timer with unicorn poop. Check back tomorrow, all these little things. So expect to see that comment continue to pop up in the future patches, in addition to this tutorial thing. Really excited about the contextual tutorial. All right, patch 4.0, we're not done yet. The new optimal UX. Aaron, talk to us about this third web wallet a little bit.
So we've replaced Block Native with Third Web, and they have a lot of different products in their overall suite, but generally the one we're most excited about is these embedded wallets. So going forward, new players and even OGs will have the option to sign up with email or a social login and create a wallet. It is a non-custodial wallet. Eventually, you will be able to take custody of the private key if you want and take it into MetaMask or another software wallet. But this is that frictionless onboarding to get you inside of a wallet. Anyone who creates one of these wallets, you do not have a blockchain prompt on any transaction in game. No more MetaMask prompts. It's a really amazing thing just generally in terms of just how it makes the game feel. You're literally just clicking the buttons and things happen without a MetaMask prompt. So especially for new players, I can't think of kind of a smoother on-ramp on that front. In addition to this, people can actually, for a scholar, have them spin up a wallet in one click, hand over the address at which you could delegate to. So again, we've just made it even easier to spin up, scholars and delegates within this program. A couple of quick notes just on this. One, after launch, we're going to be adding a system that auto drops a very, very small amount of Xi, which would, of course, make this wallet fully gasless. And then we've got some more kind of exciting updates, post-launch around additional features from Third Web that we're going to be adding. But like 0 to 1, this is the experience that we've wanted for a very, very long time. And it's been amazing to kind of see that come forward. And it gives us this great foundation to continue to build on top of over the coming months.
Absolutely. And we've tested the basic functionality. We'll certainly see what happens when we go live. But this best of both worlds is really exciting for me. I'm someone that has all of my assets on a hardware wallet. I do basically everything on hardware wallets. It's a lot of clicking and it's very slow. You won't have to transfer all of your assets to this Third Web wallet. You'll be able to secure all of your stuff on your hardware wallet, and then you can just delegate to a Third Web wallet, log in with that, and you should have all of your assets, and then you'll be able to get this great user experience. So that was one thing I was a little concerned about at first. Like, man, I don't want to have to transfer all my unicorns just to get the great user experience of what the Third Web wallets provide. But because of our delegation system, it should work very, very seamlessly and really give you the best of both worlds, where you can go maximum security, but now also get this great user experience where it's hard to explain how weird it feels for MetaMask to not pop up, to just click, hey, I want to evolve this unicorn, click the button, and 10 seconds later you've got an evolved unicorn. Pretty wild. I'm excited for all of you to be able to experience that. But this flow really feels good. And you can see on the screenshot over there, obviously you can register with an email, or you can just connect with Apple, Facebook, Gmail, that kind of thing, like you would with any other app, and log in that way. So a lot of options to get scholars and stewards up to speed. So that is 4.0. Oh, go ahead.
No, you said everything I needed to say, sir.
Awesome. So that's patch 4.0. That's what we can expect when we go live on Xi. But of course, we have a lot more in the cannon. And up next here, let's talk about what the plan is for 4.1, the first patch that will follow after our release on Xi. What do we got here, Aaron?
Yeah, so server-side analytics is a long requested feature that will be landing. It effectively replaces what we currently use, which are client-side analytics. Client-side analytics get blocked by VPNs. They do occasionally just don't make it to the server for various reasons. And we've always seen about 5% loss on the total entirety of events, but this is what has led to leaderboard discrepancies. So going forward with server-side analytics, those discrepancies will be solved because it's two servers talking to each other, and your VPN or whatever your setup is does not matter because it's our server talking to the analytics pipeline. And so anyway, the solution to leaderboard woes will finally land, and we'll be good to go on that front. Next, an ongoing kind of series of continued performance improvements, again, from things that we identified that weren't quick wins, but are still worth working on post 4.0. Again, I'm going to be stunned if people have negative feedback when they get the 4.0 build in their hands, just between obviously how Xi, this new chain makes the game feel, coupled with a lot of the improvements both the client and server team have been able to squeeze in. And then last but not least, batch airlock. Ironically enough, going through and locking corns is so quick and efficient with Xi, but yes, it's still annoying to have to go through that process. If you're in an embedded wallet, you literally just click lock in line without MetaMask prompts and things of that nature. But obviously batch airlock kind of closes the loop on this and solves a long standing issue that our player base has had. So very excited to kind of follow up the 4.0 release with a series of improvements and additional polish.
Absolutely. I had the same experience at first. It was like, oh man, we're not going to have batch airlock for 4.0. I'm really disappointed. And then I tried locking some assets and went, wow, that wasn't so bad. That was like 1% of the pain that I went through to lock all of my assets on Polygon. So I'm totally aligned with you there. It's still going to be a much needed feature, but just Xi has alleviated a big chunk of that core issue.
100%.
All right. Now, moving forward, patch 4.x, this is kind of the follow-on releases after what, we kind of know what 4.1 looks like. We'll see how all of this stuff pans out in terms of 4.2, 4.3. We don't have the numbers exactly locked in, but definitely want to get you guys excited about the features that we have in the canon and the stuff that we're building. This is what the player profile looks like, or at least a mock-up of it. You can take a moment here and sort of digest, a lot to take in. Overview, achievements, there's an activity log, pretty exciting. You'll be able to see a history of some of the actions that you've made, and looks like there's a little teaser there about some potential avatars that you can go crazy with. But this is a feature that I've wanted since even before I was hired here. I think my day one, like, all right, what are we working on? I wrote this document that was like, we need player profiles. I want to see what other people are doing. I want to inspect my enemies. I want to inspect my friends. I want to feel good about every action that I do in game, whether or not you made money on that farm or that gather, or you got hit by the shadow corns. Now you're going to be gathering experience as you do those tasks, and then you'll be leveling up those individual categories. This is really cool for a number of reasons we'll get into on the next slide. But it does allow us to build out these profiles and get a sense of, hey, look, this guy's a master breeder, but that's weird. He never does gathering, and kind of vice versa. Achievements are going to be a big part of this as well. You can see the achievement progress in that bottom left corner there. And I'm just so excited about the ability to really I build my identity and see the identity of other players, to draw parallel pixels. I spend a lot of time just hanging out in town, inspecting people to go, man, that guy's a level 60 farmer. How the hell did he do that? Maybe I'm the outlier, but to me, that actually is sort of fun just to inspect and creep on other people. And I think this will also be helpful with tribes, right? As we get closer to our puzzle battler forever PvP game, having that identity is almost like a little resume, right? If you're a new player, you want to join the best tribe, you now have a thing that you can link to people and say, hey, look, I started playing 3 months ago and I'm already a level 10 farmer. Or look, I'm here on the leaderboard and I don't have any good unicorns. Imagine what I could do if I had access to these great unicorns that you have. This is, to me, is the key piece to start allowing us to build up these social features that, in some ways make this whole thing feel a little bit closer to like a social network in some ways. I know we're playing a game, but there's no doubt to me that the social element is a really key thing of what we're building here.
Absolutely. I think you said everything we need to say here, but pumped to finally have this as a long-term feature around, spreading out achievements and player level, and letting people kind of more own the path that they've taken over time through the crypto unicorns kind of ecosystem. So yeah, very excited to have this.
Yeah. I saw somebody in chat that said, I'd love to be able to see online users. Like, again, thinking World of Warcraft, old /who level 60 Ironforge. Hey, how many level 60s are in Ironforge right now? I put that prompt in a time or two. So a valid call out. But okay, pressing forward here, player progression. Aaron, you can take this one away. But here we've got a deeper dive into the achievements tab. And would love to hear your thoughts on more of the dynamic gameplay that this opens up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, achievements are baseline and in some cases kind of boring. They're going to be fun. You're going to have them. They're going to let you progress around certain things and get additional rewards kind of over time. This to me, like when you think about the sequence of how we onboard new players into the experience, like the first time user experience kind of gets them into the loop. We kind of get them introduced to the beginner quests and things of that nature. They start to get to the point they can begin and get their first collection. They start to understand, oh, okay, now here's how I go about this. Well, I view kind of achievements and what we're going to do with them as a way for players to, again, come to a place and understand, well, here's something I can kind of grind for, right? And of course, what they're grinding for is obviously teaching them more about the game over time. So I think there's a phenomenal kind of baseline foundation that we'll get with this feature. And then we get some really exciting opportunities to do more, especially around player level. In that now with player level, we can customize quests such that if you're too high of a player level, you're not going to see a noob quest, right? If you're a brand new player, you're going to see very specific quests. We can actually tune things such that, your first time quest board, right, at a certain player level is going to give you a nice toast quest, or you'll have a chance at a fun kind of mythic quest that's a little bit of an easy on-ramp into that flow and those rewards. And so by having a very granular player level that we can now cohort our player base across, it lets us effectively provide better content for OGs, as well as noobs without, necessarily allowing OGs to even see things for new player accounts. So it just gives us a lot more granularity to go through and craft an experience that I think is going to be exciting and fun for players throughout the early, mid, and elder game.
Absolutely. Very excited about this. Also, 4.x questing improvements. So Aaron touched on this a little bit, but outside of just what we're doing with the player levels, there's also going to be a big change to shift quest boards to a unified global timer that resets at the same time for everyone. I think most of us are aware that right now quest boards are on an individual basis, and unifying that will give us a little bit more control with what we do related to quests. Going to give us the ability to add in limited quests. You can almost think of these as like a quest jackpot where, oh, I got the pull and this quest is extra juicy or has some kind of limited reward. It gives us the ability to do slightly more exciting dynamic things with quest boards that have been kind of challenging in the past, given that quest boards are different for every single player.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, player level plus global timer gives us the granularity to just do so much more with that system, and really gives us this opportunity to do cool things. We might fire in 100 mythic tier quests that will last a week or a day or 2 days. And if you're lucky enough to roll those on the quest board, you kind of know you got lucky and you need to try to grind through and like activate that quest before it's gone. And so it just gives us a way to do things where we have more granular control. We know exactly how much asset inflation we're potentially putting into the economy, and we don't have to necessarily worry about things that we've had to worry about in the past. So the questing improvements will continue to give us better opportunities to serve players across the life cycle in a more granular and kind of targeted fashion, and then give us more opportunity to just insert really fun things, right, that surprise and kind of delight the player base.
Yeah, more levers, more customization, and more ways for us to spice up the experience. So it's not just this linear progression. Okay, I beat the game, but kind of more forks and different ways that you can go. I've been playing Red Dead Redemption 1 that was just re-released on the Switch not too long ago, and it's given me the appreciation for the balance between, hey, here's a storyline you can follow, but also you have a lot of choice and you can go in a lot of different directions, and it also feels a little bit like a sandbox. And I think there's a real beauty to that style of game design, and this gets us one step closer to that. Up next, more interface improvements. Here's a little teaser about the new modal for collections. You can see it's nice and bright, nice and shiny, trying to really make that moment of collection even more exciting, feel better, and more like, wow, I did something, I got it. Tooltips V2, this is also going to be really awesome mouse over tooltips that show players where resources can be accumulated and used. For those of us that have been playing this game for years, not as big of a deal, but for new players, it's really overwhelming at first, right? I remember looking at the berries and being like, okay, there's 9 berries, but I don't remember what the 9 classes are off the top of my head. So how the hell can I figure out which berry is which if I don't even know what I'm working with here? You know, and I think the Tooltips V2 will really help to minimize some of that early chaos and just help guide you in a very organic, simple way, but go, hey, here's what this thing is, and here are some suggestions about where this thing could be used or how you can get more of them, right? And obviously, the contextual tutorial that Aron had talked about, we will be continuing to expand, iterate, and work on that. It's in a great spot right now, but it has a very high ceiling. I think there's a lot of things that we could do with the contextual tutorial long term to make it even better.
Absolutely. Continued improvements kind of across the board. And again, just making sure players don't get stuck. We really deeply looked at where do people get stuck, right? You know, it's what do I do at the beginning? Well, the contextual tutorial kind of fixes that, right? Then it's, okay, I got this new material or something out of a loot box, right? That's for a collection, but I don't know what this means. Well, just mousing over it will now tell you exactly where you get it, how you use it. In addition to that, you know, you'll know what recipes and things unlock if you level up your workshops, and just trying to find any place in the product throughout the player life cycle where we weren't clearly explaining what's next and what to do. And so much of the releases that will follow the 4.0 release are very focused on kind of doubling down on that. Ideally, you know, with the hope of this kind of great influx of new players who are going to be asking all of these questions in the first place, right? I know a lot of people here have been here for years. You know the game. Again, we're looking for growth on the other side of the Zygration, and so we've been very, very focused on kind of doubling down on ensuring we both capture and retain this new tranche of players.
Absolutely. I see. I'm actually looking at the numbers on this modal, and yeah, that's a lot of UNIM and a lot of CU. Obviously, placeholders there, but wanted to get you guys excited about the future of loot box modals. There you go. Quite the collection. We talked about Third Web. Obviously, really excited about this brand new experience. It's going to launch day one with patch 4.0 to give you guys that great experience. But there are ways we can continue to level that up. And our goal is to really make it a seamless on ramp. Aron mentioned earlier the gas rebate and finding ways to seed those wallets with just a little bit of Zai so you can actually get started in a really frictionless way. It'll feel like you don't need gas, even though you are using it. And the last piece on that, I think, is this credit card integration. A lot of different wallets and blockchains have something like this, but providing new users with a way to very easily go, great, $250 on the credit card, fiat style, let me just buy it like it's an app, and then it all gets converted into crypto for you to use. Our hope, our thought is that this will be one of the key pieces to really tie it all together and allow us to take this experience and go, hey, grandma, it's really that easy now. Swipe the credit card, get yourself a few corns, and you're grinding away. This credit card feature will not be part of 4.0, but something we'll be working on rolling out in one of the future 4.x patches.
Again, all about just trying to improve the on-ramp through the entirety of the funnel. And this is the very, very tippy top. So get you a wallet instantly via social login, credit card to get the assets on chain that you need to make your first purchases, right? And then, of course, free gas through the whole process. So you're not even worrying about gas fees. So really, truly an incredible thing to, I think, be layering on top of the foundation with 4.0.
Yeah, see a lot of excitement about more Web 2 integration. So really excited. All right, so that takes us to the end of what we have to tease for 4.x. A lot coming in the pipeline, as you've seen, really focus on this new user experience. The Zai migration, really the goal is user growth. We've said it a lot of times, but we're putting all this effort into these features because we know we need to get some new users in, and we know that all of these people on Zai that are gamers and excited to try crypto unicorns need to have a decent first experience to stick around. So just putting in all that polish, and this is the time to do it. We did mention this earlier briefly, but just wanted to run through it here. This DAO update with the CU buyback and burn. For anyone that missed it, here's a quick overview of the two proposals. CU IP 49, buyback and burn. This is the one where any revenue that comes into the treasury from any source, 50% of that will go to buying back CU and burning it at regular intervals. So this will be a really awesome mechanism that will scale with user growth, right? As our revenues scale. This also counts like licensing and merchandise and other things even outside of the game. So this just gives us a really great foundation that as we scale up, CU should be able to scale with it. CUIP 50, deflationary in-game token burn. We have a game treasury. When people spend tokens in the RMP, they go into this game treasury and they kind of just sit there. Now we're going to begin burning those tokens that just sit there. It's going to kick off with a big chunk, 6.48% of the total supply sitting in that game bank that's going to get burned. And then after that, we're going to start burning it on a regular basis. It says weekly in there. I'm not sure if it's actually going to be weekly, but it will be on a very, very regular cadence. So appreciate the community members that were able to put these forward. I know the community had been asking for this stuff for a long time. And Aron, I'm glad we've finally been able to bring it to life. And both of these proposals passed overwhelmingly 99.5% pass rate. So the community is obviously very, very excited about these.
Yeah, I mean, I think the next slide kind of sums it up nicely, and it is something that I want to try to, lean on, right? Now, post these proposals, literally every single action inside of the entire crypto unicorns ecosystem is going to drive value directly to CU, right? If anything purchased on the marketplace, CU is getting bought and burned, right? CU being spent in game on berries is being burned, right? Any additional rake revenue coming from Rainbow Rumble, coming from the Unicorn Party suite of games, coming from some of the merchandising deals that we're getting close to cutting, all of that goes to, again, either burning CU directly or buying it back and burning it. To me, this is how you align all participants across the ecosystem. And yeah, I mean, I couldn't be more excited to kind of enter this next phase. keeping in mind, right, like the retroactive burn component of this, nearly 6.5 million CU getting burned right off the bat, right, constituting what would have been burned had we started with this system, is amazing. If you think about that across a few thousand wallets playing for 2 years, what happens when we're at 10K? What happens when we're at 25K? What happens if we achieve 100K, right? This is, again, how the flywheel gets going and how it becomes really the greatest economy that we've seen in the space. I'm very, very confident in these changes. And again, I think it's going to really, really help kickstart and activate everything kind of post migration. So again, I think this is the thing to shout from the rooftops as we go live again, is to encourage everyone. Literally, every action you are taking, every breed, every evo, right, every mint of new land from the LVM, right, 50% is going towards buyback and burn. And we should see that again accelerate the flywheel, and I believe will put us in a pretty phenomenal position. So couldn't be more excited. Thank you again to the community members who brought this forward and to the community who voted it through. So I'm pumped for the next phase here.
Me too. And like you said, I love this slide because it communicates so much with so few words. CU really is at the heart of our ecosystem. And I love this idea of like ultrasound gaming. People had talked about Ethereum and all these other currencies, like ultrasound money and all that stuff. But when you extrapolate that towards gaming, it actually does make a lot of sense. The model for play to earn during that last big run was really focused on inflation, expecting unrealistic user growth. And it's taken us 2 years to kind of reconcile that and figure out how to rearrange things so that we have more levers, more control, and that we still have an ecosystem that does pay out rewards, does hold true to that kind of play to earn vision, but also doesn't just hyperinflate tokens to the ground to the point that we can't get the flywheel to take off. So it's taken us a lot of time, a lot of effort, a little bit of trial and error, but this is the results of that, right? This is the fruit of that labor. CU goes ultrasound. And I want to implore everyone, screenshot this, share this around as new folks come in. This is the key narrative that we really need to instill in people. Our ecosystem has a lot going on. So sometimes it's hard to explain to a new user, like explain crypto unicorns in one sentence. That's actually a really hard thing to do. But I think this kind of summarizes it in a way that is very digestible for new users to go, oh, okay, I see what you guys are trying to do here. All right, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And very well positioned. So, stop gushing over this. Last but not least here, I'm going to tease much further into the future. Patch 5.0, patch 5.x, obviously this far out. Exact numbers are still subject to change, but we have not lost sight of the continuing need for tribes to develop the war machines and all of the action to begin those tribe battles, and then that will get us closer to this forever PvP game, the Puzzle Battler. So, Aaron, talk to us about tribe gameplay a little bit and our future of tribe v tribe combat.
This is our magnum opus. This is our capstone kind of feature, and we really did save the best for last, right? Sysmel has kind of landed on the team like a whirlwind, and has, I think, brought a number of super innovative ideas, taking the original concept of this puzzle battler, and then how do we layer that into existing tribe gameplay, where tribes are effectively going to go to each other's LOD3s and, make very strategic kind of real-time decisions to try to defeat each other and kind of climb the ladder over the course of these cyclical reoccurring events. And so, I'm very, very, very excited to reveal more details on this. We're actually going to do, probably around this time next month, kind of a full 5.x deck. So if you're excited or very interested to learn more about how we're going to kind of land the Elder game plane, if you will, I would absolutely mark your calendars for the late July town hall. But TLDR fully leaning into the Puzzle Battler as a kind of forever PvP game. There's a lot of really unique ways to bring all of this together. Systems that we have in place, like delegation, give us opportunities to potentially on-ramp players for free who just want to come in and be these puzzle battlers. And so I'm excited to see tribes begin to recruit people who may not fit the current mold of player, just given this gameplay is far more active, far more engaging, and certainly far more kind of real time. So very excited to see this add depth to our existing features and systems without forcing players to be in the Elder game to participate. I think that's a really kind of critical key win. And from what I'm seeing design-wise, I think we're going to have a very fun and engaging loop here that will be highly competitive, even fun to stream in these things. And so, excited for more to come on this. And we're obviously being a little coy given we've already leaked enough alpha today, but get excited for July and more in-depth look at kind of where we're going with the 5.x release suite.
Absolutely. And I think I've said this before, maybe on the last town hall, but as I played Pixels, I had this revelation of there's different archetypes of players, right? And you have the folks that really enjoy building infrastructure, and our current kind of Elder game, that's very different from the kind of PvP players that just want to hop in queue and go deep into strategy and play in the arena, so to speak. And my vision for this Tribes Forever PvP game is to kind of merge those two worlds, right? I don't expect Time Traveler to be grinding the Puzzle Battler day in and day out. I kind of expect him to continue being this great infrastructure builder, right? And now you have all of these assets, and there's a reason to try to work with these scholars that are going to want, or these PvP players that are going to want access to the best possible unicorns to maximize on the leaderboard. And if on the other side, tribes get rewarded more for having players that perform better, all of a sudden there's this kind of marriage of game theory where you have folks that can perform, play for free, but need better assets to level up, and tribes also need the best players. I'm hoping there's a little flywheel there where, I'm picturing the Axie Classic days. Scholars grind and they use that as a resume to try to, apply for the best tribes. The best tribes are always sort of recruiting. Maybe there's some way that people can ring for tribes and kind of try out. All that infrastructure is stuff that we're talking about actively building with Sysmal and others. And I'm just really excited about that. I want to merge the two worlds of these hardcore PvP players and our existing amazing infrastructure builders that have been breeding unicorns, engaging in all of this really deep strategy. Not everybody wants to play a spreadsheet game, and that's okay. And I'm hoping that this will, really expand it out. The last thing I want to say is there is match 3 at the center of this Puzzle Battler, but it is not a match 3 game. This is not Candy Crush. This is not just some basic, I got 3 in a row. This is taking that concept, leveling it up, adding a few more dynamics to it, putting unicorn stats as part of it, and then adding in other tribe elements. So we're officially calling it a Puzzle Battler. I do think Sysmal is working on something that doesn't really exist. Not to say we're creating an entire new genre, but this game is going to feel different from anything that you've ever played before. And I think that'll be a really sexy hook to get people in. It's not Candy Crush. So Puzzle Battler is now the official name of our Tribes PvP game. So stay tuned for January, and excited to reveal more details there. We'll get Sysmal up on the mic again. But that brings us to the close. Quick summary of everything we went over, and then we'll have a little bit of time for questions here. Custom Marketplace coming June 24. Migration to Xi going to be complete June 25. Just want to highlight that there are 2 different reward schemes. The migration being complete, we will have daily rewards for players. There's going to be Xi that you can claim daily just from doing your normal farming, gathering, jousting activities that you'd want to do anyway to progress in crypto unicorns. That's different from the play to airdrop campaign that will be starting July 1st and will be running in tandem with the daily rewards. So folks, we are juicing the hell out of this thing. There's daily rewards and there's play to airdrop. We've got other leaderboards planned for tribes and whatnot. This is going to be a juicy time to be playing crypto unicorns. So hopefully y'all will benefit, and we can shout it from the rooftops and really capture some of this excitement of folks that want to come and find a way to earn some Xi and see you. Player progression, we talked about it a lot, but achievements, player levels, player profiles coming in hot. Really excited for these. Puzzle Battler making great progress, and the CU buyback and burn proposals giving us this great foundation so that as all these other things come online, we have this natural automated amplifier that's just helping push everything to the limit. So it's all coming together, Aaron. 2 years in the fold, and here we are. We're finally starting to get it.
Some people, learn in the sandbox messing with shit. And I really view that as kind of our journey. We made the decision to ship the game. We kept our heads down. We built the beachhead, prepared for the coming wave. The coming wave is here. And I'm excited to kind of see us, launch on Xi and get this kind of opportunity that really very few games have ever had. So, yeah, the future looks bright, and we're very, very excited and ready to kind of continue the grind post launch. It's just amazing. It's hard to really put it into words. Sparkly, let's get to some questions.
All right, this is a lot. Chat is overwhelmed, memeing, spirits are high, and questions are flowing. Thank you so much to Aaron and Zoe for all of the alpha. But before the spicy questions, let's run by the rules. So we do not have a limit to the number of questions that we have this time. Well, until we have to go. Do you guys have a limit? 30 minutes?
I have a pretty hard limit because we're crunching. So we've got 10 minutes from here. Let's get to it. No rules, Sparkly. Let's just go. Let's go.
Okay, lightning round. All right, lightning round time. Yes. Okay, we have the questions here. An anonymous question: as we are increasing more utility for our main token CU, are there any plans to turn Unim into its soft currency? Just like berries are soft currencies and players can buy and sell them via RMP according to their demand.
We've been thinking about Unim a lot, obviously, with all of the changes to the Crypto Unicorns token itself. I can say that I don't have much of a desire to turn it into a soft currency. That feels like a cop-out. That feels like moving in the direction of Web 2. We are a crypto native game, and more assets, the better, is kind of my thought. The assets simply need to be managed better. So I'm looking much more at how do we codify the monetary policy of Unicorn Milk effectively at the smart contract level in a way that creates predictability in how it gets inflated. It would obviously be based around land ownership and gathering cart progression and level. So there's some interesting ideas that product has been spiraling on that we need to talk to engineering about when they get out of the migration rabbit hole. And I would expect more updates on what the plan with Unicorn Milk is. I'm not ready to write that experiment off as a failure. And I do believe, again, more real assets is better than less. So that's kind of a high level overview of how we're thinking about Unim. And you should expect more exciting kind of updates and likely a governance proposal around it after migration.
Yeah, I'll just add on one little piece. Turning it into a soft currency is an extreme one-way street. So we're nervous to pull that lever because there's no going back. So not to say that it's totally off the table, but just have to be very cautious about things that are sort of a one-way deal that can't be easily undone. And big implications.
Very fair. Very fair. Okay, question number 2. Aaron, spill the alpha. Tell us all the juicy details about the Play to Airdrop campaign. Well, we will have an article about that soon, but do you have anything to say about this, Aaron?
I'm going to let people wait on the article, and y'all can dive into that. I think it's the most exciting program we've ever had in terms of like rewards, and I just think the structure of it is phenomenal. Zori said it multiple times today, like daily reward claims I think are going to be a very, very big win for people. And again, I'm going to wait. I won't spill that alpha today.
We don't want to overwhelm you guys. One step at a time. Let's get the migration and the daily rewards out, and then we'll go full spotlight on Play to Airdrop. So we want to leave you still on a cliffhanger, eager for more, and we're going to do that right.
Well said. This was a very big info dump, and I don't think we'll be able to handle more information like that. Okay, next question. With what is going on with the Unicorn Party bingo, from withdrawal issues, lag, and bugs, what are your thoughts about it? Some people think that Unicorn Party causes some bad rep to LG because of what is going on. What are your thoughts?
We need to look at the underlying data, which we do get fed daily. As they get through the marketing campaigns this month, we do need to take a very hard look at how Unicorn Party has performed and its potential to be a business for us, right? Yes, they're struggling with a bunch of launch things. It's been kind of funny to see them struggle with things we struggled with 2 years ago that we've gotten much better at. And you can see a contrast between a team like LG and a startup like Surf. And so at the end of the day, I have shared very direct and very harsh feedback with that team. They continue to work to try to improve, but obviously we need to see action beyond words. And I am waiting to kind of see the results of it. As we've discussed many times in the governance counselor channel, July will be a very big evaluation month for that project, and it will very much be on the counselors to decide whether or not to continue to fund Surf. Obviously, we own the games and the IP, and thus we can rip it from them and look at other strategies. Should we think it works? I think there's been some very interesting things. We actually saw wager volume and stuff spike on the Xi Odyssey campaign, which proved out part of the thesis of we can get crypto natives over into a game like that. And they will wager at levels that are well above and beyond what the average free-to-play, real money, skill-based gaming player would be. So we're certainly aware of the shortcomings of that team. They are trying to improve, but very clearly we're not as prepared as they should have been. So generally, I think July is a critical month, and we will come to a decision point on whether or not to continue forward with Surf and that project. So a lot of work ahead for the council. There'll be some reports coming out early in July that summarize the data that we're kind of seeing across the marketing push that they ran via performance marketing, as well as the small quest that was a part of the Xi Chapter 2 Vanguard campaign. And then again, we'll come back around and say, where does this fit in our ecosystem? If there is a solid path over the next 6 months to seeing hundreds of thousands of CU burned, monthly, right? With the wagering volume rate, that is worth discussion. And again, so anyway, I guess that's all I have to say on it right now. More to come in July, and a critical decision point for the community, and in particular the counselors, around do we continue forward with this team or do we make some changes to direction?
All right, well said. Okay, since we are at the end of the hour, I'm going to take one more statement in the written questions. Atlas said, I do not have any questions. Just want to say that you guys are doing an amazing job. Keep it up.
Hey, all right.
That's always a nice way to end it.
One thing I could throw in here, it's not a question, but one that I saw somebody pontificate on. We did not talk about shadow corns in this presentation. We have not forgotten about shadow corns. We do have, Zoser has been working hard on the revamp of Twilight Tactics, and we'll have more information about those details in a later town hall, again, step by step. I guess one thing I can tease about Play to Airdrop is Shadow Corns were not forgotten about. So Shadow Corn Supremacy Score, formerly known as Prestige, has been taken into consideration, and there will be some Xi rewards available for folks that have Shadow Corns during this period here. So you can look forward to more details about that in the coming articles, but just want everyone to rest assured we have not forgotten about Shadow Corns, even though they weren't mentioned here specifically.
All right, love it. Okay, I know that there's a bunch of other questions in the town hall number 56, but we will address that later on. We'll post a recording of this in our socials if you would like to give it a re-listen, and don't forget to share this with your friends and fellow Unicorn fam who couldn't make it. If you have more burning questions, feel free to reach out on our support channels, the Mod Support channel and the Ask LG Team channel. This has been Sparkly Unicorn with Stealthy on Tech, hosting co-founder and CEO Aron and growth director Sayori. That's it, chat. Good morning, good night, and see you in game, Unicorn fam. Ooh.
Ooh. Ooh.